We are back from another fun trip to Disneyland, and this is our trip review. This is episode 59. I'm Soraya.
I'm Aurora.
And together we're just your average Disney travelers. All right, so we went to Disneyland again.
Yep.
And we had a really good time. We went the week before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
That's my favorite time to go. I know it's not necessarily your very favorite.
My favorite time to go is sometime when the Halloween stuff is going on.
Yeah, so September or October.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think we'll probably try to go there again, maybe even next year, hopefully, during Halloween for you.
Yeah.
We'll see. We're hoping. But my personal favorite is during the Christmas holidays. And of all of the weeks, this is my favorite week to go, the week before Thanksgiving. Because the decorations are all up, the rides are all going. If they have any shows, they're all going by then. And it's not as crowded as it gets later. It gets a lot more crowded right after Thanksgiving. Actually, even during Thanksgiving sometimes.
Like by the end. Well, then again, the end of our trip was on a weekend, so
yeah,
it was going to be more crowded.
Yeah, so we were in the parks on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Yeah.
And so by Saturday you could tell it was a little more crowded.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so who went with us this time? It was you and me and
my father.
Yep, Daddy got to go. He hadn't been in 3 years, so Oof. he was due. Yeah, he had not been since COVID. He had not been since Galaxy's Edge. He had not been since Avengers Campus, so there was a lot of stuff for him. And I think this was his first time going during Christmas, too.
I think so, too.
Yeah, so it was fun for him to get to see a lot of things for the first time.
Yeah.
So we left on Wednesday.
Sometime after I got home from school.
Yeah, pretty close. You got home from school and we were pretty close to being ready to go.
Yep. So I think I can be now officially designated as a Disney brat.
Yes, you're a Disney brat. You get to go to school, and after school, you get to go to Disneyland.
Yep.
Like, don't you wish that was every day?
Maybe not every day, but often.
Yeah. Well, it happened once.
Yeah.
We'll see if it happens again. With your luck, probably. So we drove. Road trip.
Yeah.
You like road trips.
Yep.
So we
it's nice and chill.
It was pretty nice and chill. We had really smooth, easy ride. We didn't even have very much traffic. Just getting through Phoenix was the only thing, and after that it was pretty smooth and easy. So I
got to sleep a lot.
You did, and listen to some tunes.
Yeah.
All right, so we stayed. Do you remember the name of the hotel?
Desert Palms.
Yes, Desert Palms Inn and Suites. It's on Catella, right near the corner of South Harbor and Catella. It's there's actually like a 7-Eleven right there on the corner, but it's right next to the 7-Eleven.
We'd always just cut through the parking lot.
We did. We did. We cut through the parking lot.
To shave off like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
10 seconds. I don't know.
Yeah, a few steps and a few seconds.
Yeah.
Especially at night when we were tired. It's not a very far walk from the parks. Oh yeah, that's right. So from the location, we when we were up in the breakfast room, because it does offer a free breakfast, a nice hot breakfast, it has a nice breakfast room. And what is the view?
The back end of Cars Land, so that's a nice little spot, but then we get a nice view of Guardians.
Yeah, the back end of, like the back side of the Cars Land doesn't really look as, doesn't look like Cars Land. It's just the facade, the back of the facade. It's not as impressive.
Giant fence.
It does, but yes, we did have a view of Guardians.
Yeah,
so that was cool.
You can see a bit of Avengers Campus, like the back of the Quinjet.
That's right. We could see the Quinjet, and you could see the engines going.
Because apparently they have those details in it, even though
on the back
no
side.
one can see it from inside the park.
Yeah, so it's funny the attention to detail and how it tells the story even when you're not in the park.
Yeah.
So we could see all of that from the hotel when we were at breakfast. We didn't have a room view that saw that. Some rooms did, but when we were at breakfast, we could see all of that because it's kind of a rooftop breakfast area. Anyhow, so it was pretty close. It's, I'd say about a half mile, maybe even a tad, little bit more, maybe like 0.6 miles to the gates. Because even though we were right next to the parks, that's not where the gates are. We had to walk down the street to get to the gates. And I did not time it this time. You didn't time it either. I'm sure you didn't. I timed it another time I went, though, and it was about a 12-minute walk. There is one stoplight you do have to wait for to cross.
Yeah.
And so there'll be a little bit of variation depending on that. But, yeah, it's about a 12, maybe 13-minute walk. And that was at a very, very casual, relaxed pace.
So basically, and also if, like, it'll probably be the same pace if you're, like, coming back after a long day.
Yeah, so if you're coming back after a long day, or if you're walking with little kids, that's kind of why I walked really slow, because I wanted to, but when I timed it, I wanted it to be a relaxed pace where if you had kids with you, what was realistic. If you're a speed walker and you don't have littles that you're having to tow along, you could get there much quicker. But,
oh, yeah, probably. Like, much quicker.
Yeah, maybe 10 minutes or so. But anyway, so it's not a very long walk. It's longer in the evening than it is in the morning.
Oh, yeah.
That's for sure. But, okay, so we stayed there, and it was a really nice visit. We had, or stay, I should say. We had a standard room, 2 queen beds.
Yep.
Microwave, mini fridge. Really nice hotel. It's actually, this is my favorite non-Disney hotel at Disneyland, as far as what's real close. Really good quality. And it's a true hotel where you're indoor, everything's indoors. It's not a motel. But the one drawback is that it is a little bit of a walk.
Yeah.
It's definitely farther than, you can stay across the street, but anything you find across the street is not going to be as nice as this. And it's a pretty good price because it's not right across the street.
Yeah.
And so even though you get a free breakfast and all of that, it's a pretty good price range. So if you're willing to walk, or if you are okay with taking a shuttle, because you can use that, then it's a really good option. All right, so the parks.
Yes.
What kind of tickets did we have? How many days were we there?
We were there for 3 days.
3 days.
And we had hopper.
We had hoppers.
Tickets.
We like to hop. We like that flexibility. We made reservations. We started at Disneyland the first day, and then California Adventure the next, and Disneyland again on the third.
Yeah.
And we hopped every day.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. What was our first ride?
Haunted.
Yep. Haunted Mansion Holidays, which also happened
to be our last ride of the trip.
Yeah, on Saturday night we were wrapping it up, and we
saw the wait time was pretty slow, and there's like no line.
Yep.
Wait time's slow. I meant short.
Yeah.
Not slow.
It was really short.
Yeah.
The end of that. It was closing at midnight, and so it was
and we're
pretty late.
We're kind of walking on. We're like, walking by, and we're like, let's just.
Yeah, let's just do it.
Yeah.
And we realized that was our first ride as well. It was like, that's poetic. It's good. We'll start and finish at the same place. So we bookended our trip with the Haunted Mansion Holidays. All right, so Dad's first time seeing Galaxy's Edge.
Yep.
And Avengers Campus.
Yep.
How'd that go?
Pretty good. I think the first day he said he wasn't really in the parks mode yet. And so it was really the second day that I think
really struck him.
Yeah.
I think he really liked Galaxy's Edge, the land. But he gave us a little bit of a, I don't know, the first time we rode, because we did get Rise of the Resistance every day that we were there, so we rode it 3 times. It's still at that time, and I believe right now, it's still, as far as I know, I haven't really checked actually, it was still a virtual queue for it.
Well,
and
I think one of the teachers today, I think he said that he actually waited for it, like there was a line.
I've heard that they were starting to test the standby line, so it might be up to standby now. And
we went Friday.
Oh, well, that's cool. Yeah, and when we went, it was still a virtual queue. It was the only virtual queue. Spider-Man was no longer a virtual queue. It had stopped using virtual queue like a week or so before we went. So Spider-Man was standby. When we went, Rise was standby, or was virtual, and we did get it every day.
Yeah.
Which was really nice. The first day, it broke down while we were in line.
Yeah.
But then we got the fast pass to come back at any time during the day, which made it nice, because then we just get on. Unfortunately, we had sat in the same spot in the ride like forever, just in line. I don't know, what was it, maybe 20, 30 minutes. And so that, it's not like it was such a great deal. I mean, it would have been quicker if it had just worked and we'd gotten on. We would have been done with it. But that's okay. When we came back, it was fast passed on, and it was really nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, he gave us a little bit of a hard time about it because, well, it wasn't that he didn't like it. He liked it, but he said we talked it up too much. And I'm sitting there going, that's not possible. I've ridden it so many times, and I know what to expect, and it still blows me away every time.
I see where he's coming from.
You think so?
I personally think agree with him that we did talk it up
a little too much.
Bit, yeah.
Okay, if you haven't ridden it yet, it's not very good.
Well, no.
I'm just.
Yeah, he tends to. He also, again, he was in the parking lot. Like the second time he went on, he was.
Oh yeah.
Like,
so the next day
better,
he loved it, and then by the third day he was like, "Oh man, that's just incredible."
Yeah.
And so I think I think sometimes he likes to get.
This is with him in movies too.
Yes.
Like the first time he'll watch it, I'll be like, "It was okay," or like, "It was good." And the second time he's like, "Oh wait, that was really good."
Yeah.
Like I love that movie or something.
Yeah.
Like
Especially
that.
if he knows other people likes it. I don't know. I don't think he does it on purpose, but sometimes it's like, are you doing this on purpose? Are you deliberately choosing not to like things? Yeah. Okay, so but that was really cool because he had been looking forward to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge for a long time, and he got to do that, and he liked it. In the end, he totally loved it. We of course you guys did Smuggler's Run too.
Yeah, he got sick.
The first time he got really sick, but that's because you guys had pilots that
Oh, yeah, we got yeah.
Little kids.
No, the other end of the spectrum.
Oh.
We got
maybe a senior couple that maybe are not exactly gamers.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they got pretty Dad got pretty nauseous after that, so that wasn't as fun. But then I told him that, and this is a tip for anyone, if you're prone to motion sickness but you can do the simulators as long as it's not too much, ask to be the pilot yourself. You might not get on the very next ride. You might have to step to the side and wait till the next boarding, but so it'll make you wait like a whole extra minute, but you'd get then the position you want. The pilots are the most important as far as...
And also it's a bit more fun because you're actually like piloting the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes it more fun than just...
It's a bit more fun than the other positions, too.
Which are still interactive, but they're not as... They don't play as big of a role.
You just press buttons.
Yeah. So then when you guys did go back on and you were the pilots, you had a much better time.
Oh,
he did not get...
It was also just us. We didn't even have anybody else.
That's true. The other positions didn't get filled.
We were always just like, woohoo! Like, we're doing stuff like... Yeah. We had a really good time on that time.
Okay, so what else was new this time? What did you do that was new?
Oh, yeah. I went on Guardians.
And?
I loved it.
So it's official.
Yeah.
It's official. You are a thrill seeker.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So what did you love about it?
I liked the feeling of falling, funny enough.
the sensation that has been terrifying you for so many years, that's what you like?
Yeah. And it's just like, yeah, and it's like my favorite track, I don't remember which song it is. I think it's I Want You Back. Yeah, it is. I think it's that one. Yeah. But like, there's... Most of the times when you fall, like, you have, like, a moment of where you kind of float up a bit, and then you go down pretty quickly. Like, after that, maybe, like, a second of floating. But that one, there's, like, 2 drops where you just start floating for, like, a solid, like, 4 seconds. Okay, I might be exaggerating. I don't know. It felt long. More like 3.
The hang time was longer.
Yes, and that was fun.
How many times do you think you did it? Did you count over the 3 days?
No.
You don't.
I went on a lot.
Yeah, you did.
Probably like at least 15.
Yeah, you over the period of 3 days, I would say probably. And Dad went on every time with you, or just most of the times? Did he sit out any of them?
I don't think he...
Or was he with me some of the time?
Yeah, he didn't really... It's not like he sat out, but if he didn't go on when I went on, it was because he was with you.
Yeah.
I don't think... I'm pretty sure I went on every time with him.
Yeah, he didn't go without you.
Yeah, because I don't remember being the line alone.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So I'm pretty sure I went with him each time.
I think he did. You did. I think he did too. It's one of his favorite rides.
Yeah.
And so it makes sense that he was with you every time. He would be on that as many times as he can get on it.
Yeah. I remember like the first time I was just like holding his arm, but I had them up. Like I think by the end I had like one hand holding his and then the other up in the air. Mm-hmm. The picture though just has me just like both arms.
So that was your first time on
first
it.
Time.
And by the end, like of our trip,
the second time I went on, I started off with only one hand holding his, and then by the end I had it both just free. And then the third one, and after that it was just already I was good.
Yeah. So that was fun. I went on with you guys once. Yeah. And you know, we can talk about this now too. The relief band we've talked about a couple times that I was going to try. It did help. It helped significantly in all of the rides that I tried it on. Although I did note that there is a very small simulation part at the end of Rise of the Resistance, and I was wearing the relief band. And every time before this, I've always kept my eyes closed because that's what I have to do to not get sick. But this time I left my eyes open, and the relief band did help. I could tell it was helping, but I could also tell that at the end of that very short period that I really shouldn't ride simulators even with the relief band. That I would have gotten sick if it was an actual simulator ride where like Star Tours or Smugglers.
That's like at least like 3 times.
Yeah. So I'm sure at least.
Oh, like 5. I don't know.
So I decided not to do any of the simulator rides. I mean, Rise is fine because, like I said, it's so short, and I just closed my eyes because I did that even before I used the relief band. But any of the other simulator rides, I think those are just going to not be available to me, and that's okay. But it did help me significantly on the roller coasters.
Yeah, you can go on Space Mountain now.
I did actually, yes. So I wore it on Space Mountain. It did help. The very, very end, last couple turns.
Oh, those are really sharp.
Oh my gosh, that almost did it. But what I found out, and this is something I was surprised about, I don't really like Space Mountain anymore. Like the story or like whatever.
There's no story.
That's what I don't like about it.
Yeah, it's really if you like thrill, you'll like it. If you don't like thrill, then you'll probably not care about it unless you really like just being in the dark.
It's like really I think if I was with the whole group, if everyone was wanting to go, I would go on it once. You know, as long as I had the relief band.
Yeah,
I would do it. Yeah, the pulsar. I would do it again, but for myself, I would rather not go. And what we also learned was Dad just can't do that one anymore. No. Although he didn't try it. Did he try it with a relief band later on?
Not for Space Mountain.
So he might have, but he and I both just don't really care for the actual ride itself anymore. I like roller coasters, like for instance, Incredicoaster.
Doesn't he like the Disney World one though?
He might. I don't
remember. Or at least
he
used to, because I remember.
He used to prefer Disney Worlds. Yeah, because it had more light.
Yeah, so he could see the track, and then he didn't get sick.
But anyhow, I Incredicoaster, it worked really well for me on.
Yeah.
And so I like that roller coaster. I like the ones that have a story. I like to know that there's a purpose and there's a story, because I love Disney for the stories.
Yeah.
And so the rides can be fun, but the ones I'm going to like the most are the ones that have the stories that resonate more with me. Or just do it in the right way that...
Best Incredicoaster does resonate with you, just being a mom.
Well, that's true.
You have to wrangle.
Chasing babies.
Which one was more difficult, me or Katie?
Oh, you. If Acadia, if I told her not to do something, she would not do it. If I told you not to do something, you would find another way to do it. So you would still, it's like, you know, you'd figure out how to do what you wanted to do that you weren't supposed to do, but you would do it in a different way than the way I told you not to do it. Yeah. You were the one that I had to put in gymnastics because you were climbing on top of things and jumping off, and I had to.
That's why
I wanted you to learn how to fall safely. And so
did it work, or did I just grow out of it?
You ended up growing out of it, and the gymnastics.
It was only until later, when I went to karate, where I actually learned how to fall safely.
Yeah, that's true.
When I stopped doing that completely.
But anyways, So Space Mountain, I can ride, but probably will choose not to most of the time. But I can ride in Incredicoaster with the relief band. I also can ride things like Big Thunder Mountain multiple times now with the relief band, whereas before I would ride it once and then I needed a break.
Yeah, wasn't Indiana you can go in a couple of times, like, as long as you, like, took a break a little bit?
Yeah, and I've ridden that before, but I wouldn't be able to ride it back to back. I probably could ride it back to back with the relief band. Yeah. So it did help me. It didn't make it so I can do everything. I didn't even try it on teacups. But I
No, we don't really care about teacups.
But I felt like it definitely gave me back a lot of rides that I've not been able to do for a while. So that was nice. Let's see, what else should we talk about? Let's talk
about that lie.
Yeah, let's talk about rides that lie.
Guardians.
Okay, when we say rides that lie, what do we mean?
The wait time that they say it will be, or like they were like the person like this wait line is about like 40 minutes.
Right. So some of them lie in one way, they inflate.
Yeah.
And some of them deflate.
Yes. In our experience, most of the times that we've gone on it when it was incorrect, it's usually shorter than what it's said.
Yeah.
So
because of the rides we're interested in, they how it works.
Faster.
That's how it works.
They go pretty fast.
Yeah. There are plenty of rides that we did a little bit of, and those probably there's I'm sure more like them that tend to go slower than they say.
That like Peter Pan?
Yeah. So the Fantasyland dark rides, those like when we did Snow White and Peter Pan, and I did Toad's Wild Ride.
Yeah.
Those wait times were, they would say 1 and then it would end up being about 10 minutes longer than it said. And it could just be that me and everybody else got in the line and boosted that to the 10 minutes longer, and I just happened to be at the end of that pack that did it. Or it could just be that just one is, those ones are a little bit over or underinflated for the ride estimate or wait time.
The ride is short, but it's the one that continuously go on. Like, it moves slower, and then you have to sometimes stop because of if you need to like help getting on.
And that might have something to do with it too, like when they have people that need assistance. But the rides that had the overinflated, and this is always the way you prefer it, is to find out that it's half the wait time that you expected. Yeah. Which are some of the ones that you remember? Okay. You said Guardians.
Okay, most of the time it said about 40 minutes, somewhere there, maybe 50. Whenever I said 40, I kid you not, it was been like 15. Like, it was
That's like not even half.
Yeah. The longest we waited, I believe, is 30 minutes. When it said it would be 60. Like, like whenever I saw like it'd be high, I was just like, that's not that long.
Well, and also when you go enough, you can kind of look at the line and see where it's at, and you already know that's not going to be that long.
We've been in line. I think the 30-minute one was where, because like it has the outside area and that's filled, and then they have like an additional couple lines outside, and we were in those additional lines kind of like outside the outside area, and that was the 30 minutes, and so we know like if that area is filled, it's not going to be too long.
Yeah.
And so I honestly can't really imagine, unless there's like an actual breakdown, like the ride breaks down or closes for a moment or whatever. I can't really see it being super long.
Yeah.
Because then that line would, there'd just be so many people.
Yeah.
Like.
or like if they're not using all of the cars.
True. If they're not using,
if they're not loading all of the elevators, then,
that's true.
But as long as they're loading the elevators, then you can go through that line pretty quickly.
Yeah. But we went on really fast for it. So
another one that was overinflated consistently was Pirates, which is my favorite. Which meant that it was great. So many times, it would say 35 minutes or whatever. But it was still in the courtyard, Yeah. And I'm like, that's not possible.
Either they actually do lie, or we're just like charms, lucky charms.
Yeah.
If you go on a trip with us, you're gonna have short lines.
Don't say that. People will hold us to it. But yeah. So Pirates, it was even the times where it was starting to wind outside of the courtyard, where it was coming out up the hill or whatever. It was moving. Now here's a clue. If you look at the line and you see that people are walking nonstop, even if it's a slow walk, if they're moving and not having to stop and stand and wait, guaranteed that is going to be a short wait, because it's literally, you're just walking slowly through the line, and then you get to the front and you get on a boat. And it's like, it's not, It's not a long wait. I mean, there were times where it would say 35 minutes, but I was on the ride and like less than 15.
We once got in line where it was like, wasn't it like by the bridge, like or
Yeah.
on the bridge?
Yeah.
Above
But it still was
and
only like 15-minute wait.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been, yeah. In fact, there was one time that I was finished with the ride and it was like less than 20 minutes and that ride's 15 minutes long. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it was so overinflated. So that was nice. I mean, nice in that we didn't have to wait as long as it said it would. What are some of the others?
Thunder tends to
Thunder.
overstay, but it's not like drastically. It's just maybe like 10, possibly 15
minutes.
Yeah, anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes it tends to be over.
Incredicoaster also.
Oh, yes.
Was one that it always would say it was a little bit longer than it ended up being.
Yeah.
Which was nice.
I think it was roughly around like 10, 15 minutes on average that actually was. And they normally say like 20.
And then Indiana was another one that tended to be, like there were a couple times where it said, that some of the times it was accurate, and then some of the times it was a lot shorter than it said.
I think there was a couple times that it also was longer, I think.
And you know what was interesting? Come to think of it, the first time we rode it, it was accurate, but I recall they were only loading one side. They only had one track going.
Oh, yeah.
Or one car getting loaded. They usually will load on both sides of the platform. And later on, when we did have a quicker time through, they were loading both sides. So I think that, again, that's going to come into play is how many cars are they using and how many, how quickly are they getting people on. So, but anyways, those tended to be pretty good. They would pretty short waits overall. When there was going to be a longer wait, we used the single rider line. We rope dropped some of the rides that we knew would end up being longer later. So during this time of year, Haunted Mansion Holidays is very popular, and it can get long lines later. So we did rope drop that first morning. And then the second morning we rope dropped Spider-Man. Because that one also can get to be a little bit of a long wait now that it's not virtual queue. But everything else, if it was like Radiator Springs Racers, we just single ridered it. Because when we got there, it did say that the wait time was an hour. And the line was where we've stood in it, where it was an hour before. So we knew that was a pretty accurate one. So we just used the single rider line on that one. And I would recommend that if you have a group that can use single rider and the line is going to be long, just use a single rider.
Especially for racers tends to be pretty quick with a single rider.
Yeah, it's really quick.
Space Mountain's iffy. Smuggler's Run, you'll be
and Incredicoaster is iffy too, because that one sometimes the single rider line is longer than the standby line.
Yeah, that one's a bit iffy as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, Smuggler's Run and Spring Racers is pretty good with the single riders.
Another tip that for weights, which we've mentioned this before, but I will tell you this is probably my first time of actually taking advantage of it myself, because I am one that loves to watch the fireworks. But the fireworks crowd, one night, Ryan and I did watch it. Aurora didn't. She rode rides. And it was just so dang packed. And I love the fireworks, but I hate to say it, but it's almost got me to the point where I think I may just watch the shows on a video, and then unless I can get some dining package that gives me a preferred seat where it's not as packed and I don't have to deal with the crowds, I might just not do those anymore, because as much as I love them, it wasn't miserable, but it was not super pleasant.
Yeah, you're
how
not really a
packed
big
we were.
crowd person.
Well, and it was, and by then it's the end of the day and your feet are tired and you have to stand the whole time while you're waiting, and then during the show, and then inevitably, I'm a short person. Inevitably, no matter how well I can see the castle or whatever it is that I'm watching, someone will then put their kid on top of their shoulders in front of me or scoot over to where they're in front of me, and then I don't have a very good view anymore. And so for me, it's just kind of like, this is getting to be not worth it.
Yeah.
I love the fireworks though, and so it kind of breaks my heart to say that, but it might just be where I'm at.
Have to get dining packages.
Well, yes, when they offer dining packages, that's probably what I will try to do, because it's starting to become more of a value to me since I'm recognizing this even more now than before. But so because of that, we didn't watch fireworks every night. Ryan and I watched them one night, And then, and the first night we had a friend, I was meeting up with a friend, and so we didn't watch fireworks that night. We just kind of, the kids played while I was visiting with her. And then, the third night we were riding rides, and this is the tip. The tip is that as people are starting to line up for firework or getting their place for fireworks, just before fireworks start and then during the show, the lines are super, super low.
Oh, yeah.
You can go on little to no waits on lots of the big rides.
Oh, yeah. And then another, note is that after the show, people are going to rush back to the rides, so the lines will be a lot longer for a moment, but then they'll die down after, after a little bit. Yeah, so if you're not interested in the night shows, or parades. This will work as well for parades, but I think it's even more so for the fireworks. Yeah.
If you're not interested in that, just before and during are prime times. And then as soon as the fireworks are over, if you're not already in a line that's short, take a break, go get a snack.
Yeah.
Do something else for just, 15, 20 minutes. And because there's a rush, and all of a sudden those people, and I think a lot of people think they're just going to ride one more ride and then go home, go back to the hotel.
Yeah.
Because right after the parade or the fireworks, it gets really busy, but then it dies down again, and for the rest of the night until it closes, it's pretty slow, and you can have really low waits.
Fast.
Well, yeah, it's the lines
Shorts.
are really short.
Yeah.
And so, so
I really like the evening because the lines are shorter, typically. And also, it's cooler. And even though I do like the warm, I can easily just put on a hoodie. Whereas if it's warm, you can't really strip down that much.
Not in public. Not without getting kicked out and banned.
Yeah. But also, I just prefer the night in general. Yeah. I like not being blinded by the sun. I like it when it's dark.
Well, so it is a good time if you don't have little kids that you're needing to get to bed. And like I said I don't think I said this. So the first 2 days we rope dropped, but then Saturday, knowing that we were going to stay super late, we slept in. And then also I went back and took a nap and rested my feet a bit in the middle of the day. Everyone ended up coming back. I don't know if everyone slept, but I took a nap.
I watched an episode of Mandalorian.
That's right. But we went back to the hotel to rest for a little bit, because I knew that I wouldn't be able to stay all the way to midnight if I didn't. And so that's what I did. And then, of course, like I said, those night hours are just really worth it. So if you can do that, you really can get a lot accomplished in those hours.
I think it would, for this trip, I think it was, we had kind of a bit to, we wanted to, I don't know. It's I feel like, at least, definitely our next trip, we're going to want to take more breaks.
Yeah.
But I think this trip, it wouldn't have hurt, the second day to take a break. I think the first day we kind of had, a lot we wanted to do, even though we could have spread it out.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't know.
And that's what we tend to do. We usually tend to do that. Our first day or two, we're, really go.
And then that kind of takes a big toll on us.
And then the rest of the trip, we take breaks.
So I think that's something we should start doing way more.
Another thing we're going to do again, we did it this time. We brought the foot massager.
That thing felt so good.
Not just because we were driving, we didn't have to just, if we were on an airplane or something, sometimes I'll pack just a hand one.
The ones that make you itchy.
Yeah, but this one, it's the nice, sit on the floor, plug it in, stick your feet in there, and it massages.
So it needs, is that what it needs your foot while it increases pressure.
Yeah.
There is also a heat option, but we turned it off.
Yeah. So a really nice foot massager. Since we were driving, we totally took it, and we all used it. We would kind of take turns when we got back from the hotel and just totally relaxed and let our feet take a break, and that was wonderful.
That felt so good.
Total recommendation. Do that if you can. Let's see. One more thing to talk about. It was Christmas when we went. It was the week before Thanksgiving, but as far as decorations and rides and everything went, Christmas.
Yeah.
And so I love it. That's my favorite time. They had, like we mentioned, the Haunted Mansion holidays. Also over at Cars Land, they had Mater's and Luigi's were both Christmas themed.
Yeah.
It's a Small World was supposed to be
open,
but they actually, you may have heard, there was some flooding the day before they were supposed to open for the holiday season, And that ride had been down, and I believe is still down, but I did hear a rumor that it's almost ready to come back up. So there's a chance if whoever's going in the last couple of weeks of this year, actually by the time this airs, it might even be up already, but it's around that time that I heard that they're hoping that it's up again. And so hopefully it is, because that is one of my favorite rides also during the holiday season. I just love the holiday versions of the rides. And so we missed that this time, but thankfully they're getting that repaired. They did not have World of Color, of course, because that's still down.
It was really strange. They had it all drained. Like the entire lake.
Yeah, you could see them working on it. It was kind of interesting, actually. I enjoyed it. Being able to see how they have all these, they created this walkways and stuff throughout so that they could access all of them. And so they're getting everything repaired. But because that's down, they didn't have the Christmas version, of course. But they did have, like, over at It's a Small World, even though the ride wasn't going, they had the projection show that they have on the facade, and that was cool. And they had snow on Main Street. I should say Snope on Main Street. Yeah. Don't catch those snowflakes on your tongue.
No, yeah, that would not taste good.
No, but it is fun to see, and they play. They have a Christmas projection that they did in the evenings. So it was magical. It was really cool. It was a lot of fun. Like I said, it's my favorite time of year to go. We did get some treats that were holiday treats. We had some holiday churros.
We didn't have that many churros.
We did not have as many churros as we normally did. Like, oh my gosh, especially compared to the last time. But we did have churros.
True.
We did have churros every day though. I think we tried 4 or 5 different churros.
I forgot
over
how
3
many
days.
we had last time.
Last time we had a lot. But yeah, so we had some of those. They had some yummy treats.
Yeah.
What was your favorite treat that we ate this time?
That Oreo cheesecake.
I was thinking you were going to say that. The Oreo cheesecake macaroon over on the cart right outside of World of Disney in downtown Disney.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say that because that was a really good macaroon. Not cheap, but really good.
It was not cheap, but yeah.
Really so tasty. I don't even know what my favorite one was. I asked you, and without even knowing what I would answer, but I would probably.
Well, usually ask me when I don't even remember anything.
That's
about
true,
the
but that's something. That's saying something that you did remember. Yeah. So, anyways, I enjoyed that as well. We did get another cosmic cream orb.
Oh yeah.
That's one of my favorites right now. I would love to have another one right now. I could eat it. But
we didn't get a Mickey bar.
We're not supposed to say that. We're not supposed to tell my mom. Yep, sorry mom. We actually did not get a Mickey bar this time. We did do Dole Whips.
Once.
Because we have to. We love Dole Whips. I mean, we would have gotten the Mickey bar, but it was cold.
That's true.
It was pretty cold the whole time.
And honestly, we were doing a lot, and so that's probably why we didn't have as many churros, because we were pretty busy. Yeah. And which you'd think make you more hungry, but we're too busy to think about that.
At Disney, honestly, I really don't eat very much. We did have Gibson Girl ice cream because that's something that
that's
Rory
a tradition.
Loves. And so we did do that, but we
lots of Tropical Hideaway stuff, which
we
made
went to
me really happy.
We went to Tropical Hideaway a couple of times, but we were getting warm food.
Yeah.
Both of those times that we went, I think.
I really like Tropical Hideaway.
Yeah, it's tasty. So, it was a lot of fun. We had a really good time, and can't wait for our next trip. But I think it's going to be a while.
A little bit, yeah.
We've got other big things going on in our family. And should we tell them? We haven't said anything about this.
I don't know.
Sure, since I said that, we should say.
Yeah, they're going to be wondering, what's this thing?
Well, if you know our family, then this is not a surprise. But if you are another listener that we have not met in person or don't know personally ourselves, Acadia, my older daughter, and her husband are expecting. So we have the first grandbaby coming to our family early next year. And so there will be probably a good few months of just going back and forth to see the baby.
Yeah.
And so I don't think that we'll do any Disney trips for a bit, but we do plan to have a baby's first Disneyland trip next year. When the baby's about 6 months old or so. And so that's probably going to be our next trip. So we have to wait a little bit. And so we're just going to have to, well, if anyone listened to last week's episode with Naomi talking about Disneyland at home, a Disneyland vacation at home.
I think we should do that.
I think we might have to do that since it'll be a long time.
I really want to because it just sounds fun. You don't have, like, I don't know, it just sounds really fun. You get food and it's free.
Well, you do have to go buy the food, but yes.
Well,
but
it's not going to be nearly
yeah.
expensive.
Listen to episode, what was that, 58 with Naomi about having a Disneyland vacation at home or from home. That was so fun. I think we will have to do that just because it's going to be a while before we get back ourselves to Disneyland after this trip.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we had a good time. Dad had a good time. And then we had a wonderful Thanksgiving with our family, and so that was great.
Yep.
All right. Anything else we should add?
I don't think so.
You think we got it all?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks for listening, and we will talk to you next week.
See you.